So Yahoo Sports is reporting that Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis all attended a three-way phone conversation. Basically, the conversation was about the future challenges that await them this up-and-coming season and looking forward to playing with one another. All right. Now, this comes at the heels of a lot of reporting and a lot of news articles floating around the relationship between not only LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis, but even the front office of the Los Angeles Lakers, Jeannie Buss, as well as Rob Pelinka. This comes at the heels of LeBron James is not too fond of Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is not too fond with the Los Angeles Lakers organization, as well as the media. And Anthony Davis' behavior on social media, basically on social media, he let the cat out of the bag that he hasn't touched a ball in quite some time now, and now he's finally starting to train and push that false narrative behind him. Now, a lot of people thought that Russell Westbrook was going to get traded. You had a lot of people talk about how Russell Westbrook isn't going to last too long with the Los Angeles Lakers. Before the last year's trade deadline, the trade deadline passed and Russell Westbrook was still on the roster for the Los Angeles Lakers. A lot of people tried to sweeten the deal and try to say that a lot of teams are looking forward to trading with the Lakers to get Russell Westbrook more so for his contract. He's got 1 year remaining, and I believe it's $40+ million. There's a lot of teams out there that's interested in that cap space next off season. But a lot of teams are telling the Los Angeles Lakers, if you truly want to get rid of Russell Westbrook, you're going to have to sweeten the pot and sweeten the deal. And Jeannie Buss is refusing to give up on those draft picks because you're not sure about LeBron James' future. LeBron James got 1 year remaining. He hasn't signed an extension. So you're not even sure you're going to get LeBron James at the end of this season. Plus, Russell Westbrook is going to be off your books. You don't want him back in the first place. Plus, you're not too sure about Anthony Davis because the best ability Anthony Davis can demonstrate, particularly this year, is his availability. If Anthony Davis can play like at least 70+ games for the Los Angeles Lakers, that will help them so much in the standings and possibly make it into the playoffs, all right? LeBron James isn't the LeBron James of the Miami Heat where he can just carry teams on his back and that's it, okay? LeBron James, desperately seeking Susan, needs help, particularly in his 20th season, all right? So you got all this going on. And Russell Westbrook is still a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, last week I gave you guys... I did a video on Russell Westbrook firing his agent. You know, he's been with that agent since day one, since he was drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's reports out there that's suggesting that they had differences, and I really do feel like Russell Westbrook is in delusional land right now. You know, he opted in to this $40 million contract, but he also wants to be traded away from the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the front office of the Los Angeles Lakers are basically falling on the sword and basically saying that, you know, Russell Westbrook never indicated to anyone, particularly in the front office, that he wants a trade, okay? But Russell Westbrook is not happy with the Los Angeles Lakers front office, particularly the media. You know, the media, give him messing with his last name instead of Westbrook. They call him, and I'm not going to say it on this video, but Russell Westbrook finds that insulting. Russell Westbrook's brother on social media finds that insulting. And his brother has been the biggest mouthpiece of Russell Westbrook, basically saying that the brother's basically saying that Russell Westbrook wants to get out and wants to be traded away from the Los Angeles Lakers due to a lot of people blaming Russell Westbrook for the Los Angeles Lakers' struggles. The reason why the Los Angeles Lakers didn't make it to the playoffs has more to do with Russell Westbrook than the Los Angeles Lakers roster. That roster was heavily flawed. It was, some older. That was depending heavily on older veterans. They traded away all their talent in draft picks for not only AD, but for Russell Westbrook. Okay, so whatever you have left on the roster, that's what you have left on the roster. Now, a lot of people want to point the blame at LeBron James because it was LeBron James' ideal, even though there's reports out there that indicated that he pushed for Russell Westbrook to be a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers front office wanted to re-sign Alex Caruso, wanted to trade for Buddy Hield, and possibly trade for DeRozan, but they just couldn't reach a conclusion on adding another year on DeRozan's contract. He went to the Chicago Bulls. You can blame that on Rob Pelinka or Jeannie Buss if you want to, but if those decisions make perfect basketball sense, then the decision that they ultimately chose, because LeBron James pushed the narrative of basically trading for Russell Westbrook. All right. I told you guys since day one, when this was just a rumor, that this was not going to work. And here we are. The Russell Westbrook has been with the Los Angeles Lakers for a full year. And now LeBron and them all are illustrating that this isn't working. Okay. It's not the fact of desire. It's not the fact that Russell Westbrook doesn't want it bad, because he definitely want it bad. But if like they say, styles make fights. Well, talent make great basketball teams, distinguish great basketball teams from average basketball teams, from very flawed and poor basketball teams. And the Los Angeles Lakers, out of all the teams in the league, just doesn't have they just don't have enough talent. Okay, plus this is a young man sport. You desperately need to depend on your young soldiers, and the Los Angeles Lakers really don't have enough talented young soldiers that they can depend on. Now, they did add Shaquille O'Neal's son. They did add Scottie Pippen's son, and they're doing decent in the summer leagues. But the summer leagues are different from preseason NBA professional basketball to regular season NBA basketball. I do feel like between the two, I don't see Shaquille O'Neal's son lasting on the Lakers roster when it's all said and done. When the season starts, I do not expect Shaquille O'Neal's son to be with the Los Angeles Lakers. And when the season starts, I think they're going to be developing Scottie Pippen, but Scottie Pippen is going to contribute here and there, but he's not going to start in penciling him as a starter for the Los Angeles Lakers roster. And I think he's going to be really in the depth charts on the bench. Probably a practice player. I just don't, after watching him, he's solid as a player, but he's still green around. He's still green. He's still a rook. And if you just slowly develop him, give him a couple of years in your organization, you're going to have a solid player, but not right now, okay? And I know a lot of people are hyping Scottie Pippen's son up to help LeBron James, but he's not going to help LeBron James this year. If LeBron James still playing basketball 2 or 3 years down the road, he could possibly help LeBron James, but not right now. As far as Shaquille O'Neal's son, what I've seen from him is he needs to work on his craft and get a little heavy. Put some bricks in the back of your pocket, if you know what I mean, and just get heavy perfect his craft. He's going to be in the league, but he's not going to be a major star. He's not going to be a major factor, but he's going to be a journeyman. He's going to bounce from team to team to team, and may get lucky and be on a championship team. But I just don't see it. But other than that, Jenny Buss and Rob Pelinka really don't have any other options when it comes to young talent that they're developing. They mortgage away all that just to get Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis can't even stay on the court, but Anthony Davis has demonstrated this ever since his time with the New Orleans Pelicans. So the Los Angeles Lakers fully knew what they got themselves in when they got AD. All right, so you can't lay on that side of the bed saying, well, we could have won multiple titles if AD could stay healthy, but AD consistently demonstrated this. Now, the only time he played all the way through, you have to go back to when the Los Angeles Lakers won the title. And look at that year. Don't look at it at the final point. Look at the whole point. That was the COVID protocols, and leagues were shutting down, and you had arenas not fully packed or not having anyone in there at all. The NBA, they shut the league down. The players got like 2-3 months of rest. Then they decided to finish the season by playing all the remaining games at one location, played all the playoff games at one location, and played all of the NBA Finals at one location. Not to mention the fact a lot of players and a lot of teams chose not to do this. All right. Now, like I said, all championships are created equal. I'm not going to disrespect the Los Angeles Lakers championship as the bubble ring, the Hubble bubble ring. A lot of people want to use that analogy, but you have to look at the whole perspective. The Los Angeles Lakers won a title with half of the league not attending. All right. And those who did attend it really felt like, to me, they was forced to attend these games. And a lot of people just were still having the fear over getting COVID and things of that nature. And it was a watered down situation. And you also have to remember a lot of players were injured at that time. But injuries are a part of any championship or any regular season. But I just felt like that particular season was just some unusual circumstances, okay? And it is what it is. But looking at the Lakers now, I don't see them making it to the playoffs. They're not even the fifth best team. Even though Phoenix has dropped slightly, even signing Aiden back to the Phoenix Suns, I feel like they still dropped in the standings. Golden State has a perfect opportunity to repeat, but we'll have to wait and see. Memphis is still a solid team. This may be Memphis' year, as long as Ja Morant can stay totally healthy. The New Orleans Pelicans have shown a lot of grit. They got C.J. McCollum, and as well as the other players that they have, and then now they're getting back their franchise player. So we'll have to wait and see how that dynamic work out. But I think the New Orleans Pelicans are going to make a deep run in the playoffs. They have the capabilities of doing it, as long as there's not a lot of injuries on that roster. And Dallas is looking decent. I like Dallas. And the Clippers, they showed a lot of grit. Even without their two main superstars, they still was fighting for a playoff spot. So adding those two superstars, Kawhi and Paul George, is only going to increase their odds. So I just feel like there's a lot of teams that the Lakers are going to have to jump to jump over, and a lot of those teams I just mentioned, I forgot others, are simply better than the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, but guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. Deuces.